But through a series of circumstances and events, some of the beasts were kicked out of the agricultural biological center. Some of the beasts were rejects. They were thrown out of this garden because they learned the secrets of the star beings, the secrets of the gods. And it was through the efforts of Prince Ea that this wisdom was passed on. What I'd like to do is to begin where we left off last night, to touch on a particular man-beast. Prince Ea, finding several reject creatures, kicked out because for one reason or another they would simply not bow to the system. Prince Ea began to teach these individuals. Now, as a Genesis scientist, the logo, the emblem that was used by all of the scientists, the gods, were two intertwining strands of DNA. The man-beast, on looking at these two strands of DNA, referred to them as snakes, as serpents. Even to this day, the caduceus, the symbol that is used by the medical profession, refers to the two strands of DNA that are intertwining around a staff. This symbol gave the man-beast the impression that Prince Ea, the Lord Genesis scientist, the one who was the creator of the experiment known as man, he was known as the Lord of the Serpents. And it was this Prince Ea, in an effort to rescue man from the system, to give him an opportunity to exercise free will, to seek his own destiny and to achieve it. It was this scientist who provided the secret wisdom. It caused him to be rejected from his own system. It caused him to lose his position and to be dishonored. But in his mind, as most scientists could understand, the purpose of the experiment was life for the sake of life. Free-willed, undestined, unpredictable life. Life that could seek its own direction with its own fire and follow its own dreams. The two star systems of Sirius and Orion have developed institutions and systems that are billions and billions of years old. It is my suggestion, through the research that we have found, that the institutions that we find ourselves saddled with today, the institutions that do not seem to make sense, were not born of this planet. They are not natural to the evolution of man. I suggest that these systems were imposed on our being. I believe that even our value systems were brought to us from the stars. There is, for example, no reason why we choose gold as the standard of value. Gold is a very soft metal. It is very pliable. It does not resist hammering, bending. It does not resist stress like other metals. It is not as pretty. It is not as bright as some of the other metals we can find. Why is gold the most valuable ore, the most precious metal that we can unearth? I suggest it is because the civilizations of other star worlds used this element for their technology, for the wiring, for the ships, for the machinery that they use. Gold is not, I believe, a result of the natural evolution of man. It is something that I suggest confirms that we have this imposed upon us. In our research, we have suggested that Prince Ea worked with the reject beasts, taught him the secret knowledge. He himself was labeled the Prince of Darkness, the Serpent Lord, the Lord of the serpents, the snake, the devil. We presented a linguistic study we did very briefly last night. We presented in the Terra Papers to show how the word devil was derived from this individual's name. We can also show how the names of most of the gods of mankind's religions were also derived from the name Ea. In short, the creator of man, the devil, the Lord who was most instrumental in giving us the concepts of free will and in teaching us the secrets, was one and the same being. This teacher, this scientist, a renegade scientist, began to select reject beasts to go out into the rest of the population, the other rejects who had been kicked out of the garden, and he instructed them to repeat the stories, to teach them how to make fire, teach them how to survive in the wilderness. He taught them the secrets of mathematics and stars, astrology, astronomy. And the teachers that were sent out, the man-beasts, were known as the Ea Su. Su is a suffix that conveys the meaning of a teacher. The teachers of Ea, the Ea Su. It is our suggestion that Ea Su is the root for a teacher who would appear thousands of years later and who would become one of the most influential men in our own history. From Ea Su is derived the name Iesu. Iesu is a name in the ancient past that we refer to a being as Jesus. I am suggesting that Jesus was schooled in the mysteries, that Jesus was a renegade, that he attempted in his lifetime to make a stand against the institutions, against the system. And as a result, he was punished. I believe he bore the wisdom of the stars. Later on this evening, I will discuss what appears to have been his origin and whether or not he was crucified. There are questions, there are doubts. At this point, however, it was important for Prince Ea to try to work with the rejects. He and his brother, another star being who was sent to planet Earth to administer to the profit, to administer to the running of the business. They had constantly been at odds. They had battled with each other for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. And in time they came to a truce. In about 4000 BC, my estimate is rather vague. I believe it may have been as early as 6000 BC, but I'm a little more confident that somewhere around 4000 BC, the eldest son of Prince Ea, another star being who was actually born on this planet, at this individual, this son, whose name was Ra, created a rebellion on the planet, had the alliance and the backing of another star system, and he overthrew his own father, his uncle, and the Sirius and Orion star systems. In other words, he seized the planet and the solar system. Though it may sound far-fetched, and it may sound like I am repeating the storyline from Stargate, it is my suggestion that Ra, the sun god, whose symbol was the sun disk, otherwise known as the Aten, it is my suggestion that this was a full-fledged star being, born of star blood, and he seized the planet with the assistance of another reptilian race. What is crucial about this individual, Ra, is that because of his efforts alone, we find ourselves saddled with institutions and traditions that simply do not make sense. We have evidence to show, archaeologists and experts in the Middle East can show that somewhere in that time frame, an individual known as Ra or Marduk literally set about changing the stone hieroglyphs, the markings on the stelae, the markings on several of the columns and in the scrolls, and made himself the one and only God King. It was through his efforts that the course of history on our planet was changed. What is most crucial to understand about this individual is that with the assistance of a reptilian race, not only were the permanent records, the tangible records changed, but it is our suggestion that through a reptilian program of altering minds, And he was able to remove the memories of human beings in that lifetime. The concept of reincarnation, the concept of living life after life after life, we believe is absolutely accurate. In fact, in many of the early writings of the individual known as Yesu or Jesus, we find quotes that he too referred to past lives, that he too suggested he was familiar with reincarnation, and he did not in any way, shape, or form disagree with the concept. Reincarnation is older than the tradition of Christianity, Catholicism, or some of the more recent religions. We are suggesting that somewhere between 6 and 4000 BC, there was a systematic program to remove the memories of all of the beings on this planet. The mind was altered. Ladies and gentlemen, you are an electrobiochemical being. You can be affected by microwave radiation. You can be affected by electronic transmissions. You can be affected by electricity.